Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143. We're here live with episode 188. Nick, how are we doing today?
We are doing good. Got a fantasy football episode for you as we are nearing the NFL regular season. Leagues are getting reactivated and kicked off underway, and people are getting ready to do their drafts. And so we're just putting our 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming to you as two guys that know a good amount about fantasy football, been doing it for a long time. Obviously, I don't know if we're experts or not, but we are seasoned vets at this point. So, we're going to be going through the rankings, kind of just talking about the players to look for and our opinions. And on this show, our opinions are a fact. So do what you will with that. Start us off. Stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Nick, I think you're going to find this one interesting. Larry Fitzgerald had more career tackles than drops. He had 41 tackles and 29 drops. I think that's an insane stat from a wide receiver. That guy was a dog. We just got to give the GOAT some respect every now and then. Just shout out the guys that used to perform at a really high level. He's out of the game now. But Larry Fitzgerald, even when the Cardinals were awful, was always just that one reliable guy. I mean, he caught everything that you threw at him. And he's just a dog. I mean, 41 tackles, that means, anytime there was a play to be made, he made the play. And, he wasn't like these diva receivers we have now. He actually, cared about the game itself. So thought it was time to shout him out.
Yep, just an unfortunate, never was able to get over that hump of winning a Super Bowl. Obviously, They went in I don't even remember when that was. That was it was 15 years ago or something, and that was overshadowed by the Steelers winning it. But, he was loyal to the Arizona fan base and loyal to the Arizona Cardinals. Just a consistent weapon year in, year out. Easily a top 10 wide receiver all time. Some people have him in their top 5, depending on where you rank them. But, that's neither here nor there. Player of the week, Ja'Marr Chase, coming off of a red-hot year that he had last year with 127 catches, 1,708 yards, and 17 receiving touchdowns. Absolute animal.
Brown.
Obviously, he is expected to be taken first overall in most every league. That's where he's being projected to have been taken. But, he's going to have people are expecting some big things from Ja'Marr Chase going into year 5, as they should.
Yeah, I think it'd be crazy not to take him in the one spot. Nothing's really changed for the Bengals offense and nothing changed for their defense. So, they're going to be coming from behind pretty much all year. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Obviously, Joe Burrow has already shown that his favorite target is Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase has shown that he is one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL right now. And, I think the one spot in fantasy, should be a unanimous Ja'Marr Chase. We're going off these ESPN fantasy football rankings. Bijan is at number 2. Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons. They're expecting Bijan Robinson to be a lot more involved in the game with Michael Penix as the quarterback. I think, I think Bijan's a really versatile player, pass catcher and a great running back. I don't know what you think. I don't know about number 2, but he's definitely top 5.
I think the 2 spot's way too high. Okay. Personally, for Bijan, I mean, I would put I think he would be right at that 5 spot probably. I would put
I think Saquon's got to be.
Saquon.
Yeah.
Maybe Jameer. I'm not sure. But at the 2 spot, I mean, we'll see. Don't really know what you're going to get because Michael Penix is coming in, and that might change the complexion of the offense, change the offensive scheme a little bit. We just don't know. Right underneath him, like we said earlier, Justin Jefferson, who is he's going to have J.J. McCarthy thrown to him, so we'll see what the target. Obviously, he's going to target it a bunch, but You don't really know, I guess, how good J.J. McCarthy's going to be, because we talked about it earlier in our NFC North episode, talked about the Vikings and their success. You don't really know what you're going to get from J.J. McCarthy.
That's the only thing with Jettas. Yeah.
Justin Jefferson does it year in, year out with whoever's at the quarterback position, So I'm not really too concerned with him. I think he's just going to be a stud no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
Just going to come down to injuries.
Yeah, exactly. I think Justin Jefferson should be in the number 3 spot or the number 2 spot, but the only hesitation is his quarterback, because obviously you need a good quarterback to be a fantasy weapon, kind of. You need a quarterback that's going to throw you the ball. So I'm sure they'll get it to Jettas. I'm sure he'll be good. So he showed last year with Sam Darnold that he could still be a great fantasy weapon. Obviously, we mentioned Saquon. He's kind of a given. He's a good back. He's going to get a lot of touches. Philly runs their offense through him because their quarterback sucks. Jahmyr Gibbs is a great player. The only issue is great O-line. I would take him pretty high. The only thing is I think the offense is going to look a little different because Ben Johnson's not there anymore. So will it be as good? For the players in terms of Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's kind of this year that they're going to show, are they a product of Ben Johnson's offense, or are they like actually a great offensive unit? I feel like they're a really good offensive unit. So, Jahmyr Gibbs, I would take him in the first round for sure.
He's just been getting better and better, it looks like, as the seasons have gone on, looking like he's going to be a future superstar in the league for a good bit, and I guess for as long as he's a Lion. But you don't really know. New offensive coordinator does change things a little bit. Expecting the offense to not be quite as flashy and tricky as before, just maybe a little bit more straightforward. Most everybody else, 6 through 10, is kind of like, people you would expect. But an interesting one is number 11, Ashton Jeanty. People got him pretty high up there, putting a lot of expectations on the young man.
You're going to have to
not seen him play a regular season snap. We just don't know. We saw what he did at Boise State, and so they're expecting him to carry that energy of being force-fed 40 carries a game, take it into the NFL, and I guess lead the Las Vegas Raiders to victory.
That one is obviously really high. He played for Boise State. I think he's a dog. I just don't know how good the Raiders are and how good that offensive line is. Taking any rookie in this draft is just going to be kind of a leap of faith, and you hope they turn out to be pretty solid. I think Jeanty is a good pick. I don't know if I'd take him that high or not, just with all the running backs that, like, Jonathan Taylor would still be available at that point. Like, I'd probably take Jonathan Taylor over him just because I know what Jonathan Taylor, brings to the field. I don't know if I'm confident enough to take Jeanty, but, a lot of people are going to take him, leap of faith. That's just what you have to do with rookies. I think the 2 tight ends kind of down the list, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, right back to back. These guys are reception kings. So if you're in a PPR league, which that's what we're going off of, the tight end position actually can be pretty crucial. And I think those guys, those 2 dudes, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, kind of showed that they're getting at least 8 catches a game. And, the yardage comes with that and occasionally some touchdowns. So, I like Brock Bowers. I like Trey McBride. Their quarterbacks clearly love throwing them the ball. They're both great players. So I think when looking for tight ends, for me, those would be 2 of the top ones, along with obviously like Kittle. I don't know about Kelsey. He wasn't a great fantasy pickup last year. Is he going to bounce back? But Patrick Mahomes kind of spreads the ball around. So, but I like those 2 tight ends in the tight end position.
Yeah, Brock Bowers going into his second year. He was an absolute stud last year for the Raiders. One of their, I would say probably their only bright spot. Because even for the short stint that they I mean, yeah, not even I don't have anything else good to say about the Raiders last year. That was literally
No.
it. It was
Yeah,
Brock
it was just Brock
Bowers. He was a
Bowers.
stud. You just hope he doesn't fall into that sophomore slump. Trey McBride's kind of solidified himself as one of the more solid tight ends of the league, where he's kind of putting the league on watch a little bit. Travis Kelce and George Kittle, they were the two best for a good long while, constantly duking it out for that one spot, but maybe it's time to let some of the young bucks take over. Obviously, they're still studs at what they
Yeah,
do,
absolutely.
but it's like at some point, I mean, you have to acknowledge that there has been a teeny tiny little bit of fall off. Like I said, they're still absolute dogs right now, but it's not the 1 and 2 battle that we're used to seeing from them two. I think you got a good one in Trey McBride and Brock Bowers.
Let's talk quarterback. Quarterback, I think, has kind of proven to be, it started to kind of be a position that didn't really matter as much. And then now you've got these running quarterbacks, kind of the rushing touchdowns will really make or break a game a lot of times. So I don't know who you have as the number one. I think, obviously last year Joe Burrow was insane fantasy point wise. You've got, I think, the top 3 echelon, just not in any particular order. You've got your Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. They're just the guys that get things done. They score a lot of points. Their offenses are very high scoring. Those are kind of the top 3 quarterbacks. I don't have a problem with taking, a quarterback like that in the 3rd round at that point, just because they are a crucial part of your fantasy offense. Even the 2nd round, maybe. Just like if you're drafting one of those 3 guys, just because they do go pretty quick. And after that, it's kind of a big gap in between, the actual scores at quarterback fantasy wise.
Yeah, once you get between kind of the mobile quarterbacks, I would say, to the less mobile guys, it really is. It's like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and then even kind of you could throw Jaden Daniels in that mobile quarterback conversation because he's got some legs. He's been known to scamper, but I think the quarterback position is being drafted a little bit higher every single year just because of how that position is changing, and getting a mobile quarterback is just so crucial in winning your fantasy league that I think that position is moving up in importance is what I'm trying to say. So, maybe we're starting to see quarterbacks getting drafted a lot earlier because it's not the gunslinger era where everyone's just sitting back in the pocket and flicking it. It's just the way the positions changed over the course of the last 10 years or whatever you want to say. Let's see.
I'm looking, I just think there's a lot of running backs in this. Like, there's just a lot of running backs in the league right now that are solidified backs. I think outside of like your really elite ones like Saquon, Derrick Henry, guys like that, you can't really go wrong in the first few rounds at the running back position. You've got guys like Kyren Williams, James Cook, Chase Brown for the Bengals, like just guys that, you're going to draft them a little bit in later rounds, but like later in terms of like 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. But like you're going to get a good running back out of them. So I think honestly, I'm seeing like it's a very running back heavy kind of year this year in fantasy football, and maybe focus more on the wide receivers. Definitely the wide receivers. Great tight ends are kind of hard to come by right now, and then for fantasy, and then the quarterbacks are obviously another one we mentioned that if you don't take the quarterback that you want quick, you're going to be stuck with a pocket passer, which is tough in fantasy right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned Chase Brown. That'll be a cool one to see because he's going to be a guy that goes first 3 rounds probably in one of the top 3 rounds or so. Mm-hmm. And he was a guy that was getting drafted in like the 9th or like 12th round.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
Any
Bengals player,
he was getting, Yep. Another guy that was drafted late who's kind of expected to be taken pretty high is Ladd McConkey. Just another. It was just a spot filler. Yep. Whenever at the end of your drafts last year, and then he just flipped the switch. Turned out to be an absolute stud, one of their most valuable weapons out there. for the Chargers, and so he's going to be guy to look out for in the first couple rounds. We've got him right underneath Tyreek Hill, which is interesting. Just seeing where Tyreek Hill has changed at
anymore.
I mean, he was just unfortunately,
absolutely,
slowly falling. And it's disappointing to see because he was a stud for so long of our lifetime, and man, oh how the mighty have fallen.
Yep.
What else have we got?
Just some things to look out for when you're going through your drafts. Just keep these things in mind. Make sure you're taking the wide receiver 1s and 2s because after that, after you get past those 1s and 2s, it's a shot in the dark.
Nick Chubb, that's an interesting one. See, he's at 100 and they've got him on this list. He's 160. Man,
I would take him high. I would take him higher than that. He looks good coming off that injury. He's behind a good Texans O-line. It's going to be interesting to see what he does if you're, in the 8th, 9th round. You need another running back / wide receiver, kind of that flex position. I don't hate Nick Chubb.
Interesting. Kyle Pitts, obviously, he's a very, very talked about human being during this time period of football just because the expectations are always so high for him, and he gets taken at a pretty high pick, and then he is just horrible. And every single year, that's the joke is don't draft Kyle Pitts, and then end up drafting him in the 3rd round or something, and it's just should have known, should have known.
Yeah, they always say they're going to get him involved in the offense, and they never do. It's his 4th or 5th year, whatever you said. So I don't know if I don't think, I'm thinking maybe not, but hey, do whatever your heart desires. It's your team.
I would say leave him alone. Unless it's like the 12th round or something.
Yeah.
Man, maybe even still. No.
Maybe because he's cursed.
But, yeah. Anyways, here's like to end our shows and under review. Brought to you a quote from Joe Namath. He said, if you're not going to go all the way, why go at all?
Ain't that the truth? Let's go all in this year in fantasy football, and good luck to everybody playing. Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.